So you can start at any time. We are ready with this.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Farooq. Okay, I'll start now. Can you see my screen?
Yes, you can do the presentation mode and start that.
Okay. Okay, good morning to all participants attending the Malaysian Society of Pharmacology and Physiology, MSPP, 34th scientific meeting for the year 2021. I am Ramanan from Labquip, Malaysia, Sdn Bhd. Would like to thank Malaysian Society of Pharmacology and Physiology for giving us the platform for today. Firstly, I would like to introduce our company. The Labquip Malaysia Sdn Bhd is a specialized laboratory equipment supply house. We are in the same business for over 30 years. Our product range includes general laboratory equipment, instrument, and specialties in science. We have been working with some of the best manufacturers in the business. Our clients are research institutes, hospitals, schools, regulatory bodies, industrial and commercial testing labs. We are selling 1,000 over products representing more than 30 over well-known brands worldwide. Okay, today we will be covering two topics. The first will be COVID-directed transformation of experimental learning in pharmacology, and the second is innovative tools for life science education and research. Okay, for the first topic, COVID-directed transformation of experimental learning in pharmacology will be presented by Dr. Michelle Yap. I will do a short introduction on Dr. Michelle Yap. Dr. Michelle Yap is currently a senior lecturer and coordinator peer-assisted study session at School of Science, Monash University, Malaysia. Her research expertise focuses on toxin pharmacology and toxicology. She has vast experience in pharmacoproteomics, immunological, and molecular modeling of biotoxic. The ultimate goal is to develop an enriched tool for next generation biotherapeutics. Besides active in research, she is also an education innovator who adopts various active learning strategies with technology. She teaches undergraduate pharmacology with emphasis on student-centered learning using the anthropology approach. Dr. Michelle enjoys promoting STEM education to the public. She has organized and hosted several workshops and forums to advance the disciplines in medical sciences to research and education. Without further ado, I'll hand over the floor to Dr. Michelle. Thank you.
Hey, thanks, Ramanan. Can you hear my voice? Let me just share my screen. Okay, good morning and thanks to Labquip for inviting me to this session in MSPP 2021. It's my pleasure to be here to talk about COVID-directed transformation of experiential learning in pharmacology. So the mode of how education is carried out has changed tremendously. In the past, we were the product of the traditional teaching and learning environment, whereby the teachers are the key person in our knowledge searching process. What teachers give us, we just assimilate. And back in those times, there were nearly no live interactions with our teachers. So what happened is we went to class, finished the lessons and left the class. And at the end, just sit for the exam. And now we are no longer the only knowledgeable people that giving knowledge to our students. And we are no longer having the gaps with our students. Instead, we need to connect ourselves to the students. And students nowadays have a lot of exposure to technology, gadget. They can easily search for the answers they want. So what is our role as a teacher here is we can't be just knowledge feeder anymore. Instead, we are the facilitator in the learning and knowledge diving process. Here comes the student-centered learning, where the students become the active learner of all the active learning pedagogy. Nevertheless, the transition from old school teaching to 21st century learning has never been easy. Because the students are first caught in shock, they will resist and rebel. So here is why we have to decide what we need to do as an educator to train our students, okay, to adapt to the change in such a way that they could start to accept, gain confidence, and finally succeed where the knowledge is imprinted in their mind. So one of the things that we can see in comments from these photos are the people inside the photos are actually doing or handling some activities. So the knowledge is actually implemented to the learners, more likely to be acquired by doing some sorts of activities. This is what experiential education emphasizes about learning by doing. So the experiential education can capture broader and more diverse learners. It allows the students to gain experience, engagement, reflect, as well as to develop technical and interpersonal skills for career readiness and professional upbringing. So what are the key things in student-centered active learning is we as the educator or teachers can not just let the students hands-on into knowledge diving without a pre-exposure knowledge. So some of the things that we could do is having different perspective in designing our lessons. So we could have pre-class, in-class, and post-class, whereby the pre-class activity would be the pre-exposure time to expose students to any prior knowledge of the topics that you want to deliver to the students. And this pre-class activity must be concise, not loading, and prepare the students with expectations for the in-class later on. So we could also make use of technology, making it more engaging as possible so that it triggers the students' eagerness to join the class. So when I say non-classroom based, meaning that this can be done off your normal class time, but you're still able to engage with the students. And what is more important here is the learning has to be authentic and experiential, whereby we try to connect whatever that we design in the pre-class activities to the learning objective of the topic. And this pre-class learning is normally asynchronous, whereby there will be no real-time interactions with the students. So the in-class activity, which is synchronous, is very important then. So when you now go into the in-class, you can ignite the fire to learn within the student, whereby this is a classroom-based. So try to flip the classroom from traditional to active learning, whereby you are no longer the only person talking in the class, get the students to talk. And one of the important things to note during the in-class is to consider the diversity of the students. Example, some students may be very vocal, some are not. So this is time you can gauge the progress of the students and ensure they are on the right track. And again, remember that we are just a facilitator. So we need to facilitate the students in the knowledge diving process. We need to create an engaging learning environment which is inclusive, maintain the authenticity of the experiential learning in the class. So the learning activities must be experiential, especially for STEM subjects, whereby the hands-on skill are the utmost important thing. So after the class, we always say a post-class, of course, we can do some assessment, which can be a classroom-based or non-classroom-based. So the assessment can be a formative or summative assessment. And again, we should also maintain the authenticity for the experiential learning. So before the pandemic, our classes have been designed in blended mode with some face-to-face activities. However, due to pandemic lockdown, it has changed how the teaching and learning works, whereby the teaching and learning activities have shifted entirely online. This is a big challenge. While asynchronous learning activities can continue to run online, but the in-class activity has been different. Although we can have different platforms such as Zoom, Microsoft Teams, we are actually not in physical contact with the students. So the engaging parts needs to be further escalated to ensure everyone in the class is included during the learning. I see the experiential learning, especially on the lab activities, are the biggest challenge in STEM-related subjects. So in this context, I'll use pharmacology as an example to demonstrate the applications of online team remote learning, or in short, OTR. So this subject adopted active learning since 2018, but the subject has intensive wet experiment that requires students to learn skill sets in testing drug actions and responses. So when we had the wet experiments in face-to-face setting, we were used to set up organ bath or using animal models to study the drug effects. And most of the time, students will learn how to perform data acquisition. And of course, the whole assessment comes with some pre-lab quizzes and also the report writing. But ever since the restricted lab access in 2020, we have to convert those face-to-face lab activities to online. And the question is, how do we maintain the experiential learning component despite being virtual? So running a simulator experiment may be an option during this time. So here comes the LT Online. So LT Online is not strange to some subjects on pharmacology or physiology, because in our lab, we have been using the Power Lab connected to AD instruments who developed LT Online during the face-to-face experiment. So in last year, I actually came across AD instrument where they actually offer trial license for LT Online. And we get students to work as a team remotely during the live session. So here comes the concept of OTR. So what is actually LT Online? So LT Online is an online learning platform with ready-to-use content. It can cover a lot of topics on physiology, anatomy, biology, or even medicine. So those contents can be customizable and interactive for remote learning. So LT Online is a cloud-based learning platform, meaning that the students do not need to install any software on the computers. They can just log into the websites and using a browser on the computer at anywhere they are. So several things that we can see from LT is, first of all, as mentioned, is a cloud-based platform. So students can access remotely to LT Online on a web browser without the specific needs of installing specific software. And we can design fully interactive, customizable lessons that align with the learning objective on the LT Online. We can embed multimedia files such as videos or audios. And of course, we can also create interactive questions for assessment. And experiential learning parts, we can incorporate data acquisition. This allows students to learn how to collect the data based on the activities that we design on LT Online. Group work is possible. Of course, this is the overall idea of having the team learning. And of course, we can easily integrate assessment and monitor our students' progress to ensure they commit to the completions of the lab activity. So LT is very easy to use, whereby we can create interactive activity from scratch, or we can customize from the content library. So this is an example of framework that we can adopt. So we can have multimedia files such as videos. So those videos can be the videos of your lab tour or your experiment demonstration. You can have images into your LT. So this is an example of the framework and the contents of experiential learning in pharmacology. So we can also design, we can also use action verbs to outline the learning objective following the Bloom taxonomy to emphasize the importance of our lesson, and try to design the activities that is aligned to higher order thinking skills. So data acquisition part is the most interesting that I find on LT Online, because students can learn how to read, collect, and interpret data, just like how they normally do in a face-to-face lab. And of course, you can have some assessment by embedding interactive questions in your e-learning content. So I'll show you an example of the questions that can be embedded in the LT. So you can have those interactive questions, such as what is shown in this video, drag and drop to label the diagram. So you can design this type of questions for pre-lab, in-lab, or even post-lab activity. But normally you can have these questions for pre-lab, and you can have multiple choice questions or short answer questions for your assessment as well. And LT also allows students to simulate the recording data from lab instruments by using example data. So students will be able to see how they will have set up and record the data in the lab by watching interactive videos that you provide to them. And students can then analyze this data and use it to answer questions and complete the lab activities that you design on LT Online. So in remote activity, especially now, we can simulate the data acquisitions from lab instruments by having two different modes. first using the sample data from the content library, or if you have preloaded data, you can also have it to the LT online. And when students get back to the lab for face-to-face activity, you can also connect LT online to the lab instruments for live data collection. So I'll show you an example of using sample data from the content library. The students can simulate how to record data, how the recording of data works with sample data. And once the sample data is loaded on the LT online, they can then collect the data based on the instructions or the methods that you tell the students. So students can use different regions selector. So for example, they can refer to the methods here and go to the site, the data point that they want to collect data. They can use the zoom in and zoom out function as well as the scroll bar, okay, to select the regions that they want to collect the data. So the region selector, all right, or point selector, all the values can be recorded. So if you look later on, so those values are automatically shown on the panel. So this will be the experimental value that the students can actually tabulate into the table. So all this can be designed and incorporated into your LT. All right, so I'll just move to another example. So here is another example using preloaded data from previous real experiment, okay, whereby, sorry, I need to move to next slide. Okay, so this is an example for preloaded data. So you can also preload your real experimental data for the students, and again, provide them with some instructions that they can use the compression button of zoom in and zoom out, as well as the scroll bar to scroll in data collection. So I find this very useful for simulated data acquisition, especially during the remote lab activity, because students do not have access to the lab instruments for data recording. But the preloaded or sample data allowed them to learn about data interpretation and collection. So if let's say when students get back to the lab, they can still connect to the real biological data using the lab instruments. So here comes experiential learning, whereby the data collection is similar to what they have done in the face-to-face lab. So this is a systematic way for collecting data. And the LT online allows students to simulate recording data from the instruments, either using an example data or the preloaded data. So as mentioned earlier, we can allow students to perform group work on LT online, whereby students can be randomly assigned into breakout room, okay, if this is done remotely. And students can also log into the LT online to complete activity together. As mentioned, this is a cloud-based, so all the students, they can access to the website remotely. And in each session, they will get to meet with different peers and get to know each other. I think this is important, especially during the pandemic lockdown, that they can't see their friends, okay, and they can't meet new friends. And what happened is you can also get teaching assistants to guide them through the LT activity that you have designed on LT online. So, and in the activity itself, you can have different kind of assessment that enable group discussion. Okay, so you can get students to discuss their own answers on the embedded questions in the LT. So I would say that students are very active in the discussion. So whatever they have discussed during the LT activity will help them in completing their reports later on. So all the activities that they completed during the live sessions are graded. So whereby you can have different assessment modes for them. Okay, we shall talk about that in next slide. So as mentioned, for assessment, we can have different type of questions and they are all graded. And you can choose to provide instant feedback to the students. You can choose to provide grade to the students, or you can have both combination on the questions that you design. So the flexibility is totally up to you. And at the same time, we can monitor student progress. This is particularly important because you want to make sure that your students are progressing well in completing the activity that you design. So by using this dashboard, you can see whether they have started, in progress, or committed the activity. So it is shown by different color, whereby the green color actually shows in progress, blue color shows complete or committed. All right. There are also live analytics that you can see how long your students spend in the lessons, like how many times they have checked questions and how much of videos they've watched. So those are the things that you can also monitor. It depends on what you want the students to do. So the advantage of using the digital tool is you can get to use the analytics to monitor the students. So I would say in the near future, the way forward will be to empower the use of technology in teaching and learning. We will expect to see an increase in blended learning. It's important to maintain the activeness of the lesson, maintain the authenticity, the quality, and ensure student-centeredness in the blended learning that you design. And we will expect to see an increase in digital literacy on how we can make use of technology-led education tools to enhance teaching and learning, especially during this time or even post-COVID time. And one of the things that we should always remember is leave no one behind, emphasize on inclusivity and diversity of our students. With that, I thank you for your attention and listening. I will now pass it back to Mr. Ramanan.
Thank you very much, Dr. Michelle, for the wonderful sharing. Okay, now we will go for the second topic of the day, that will be innovative tools for life science, education, and research. Okay, this topic will be presented by Mr. Ash Mohammed. So I'll do a simple introduction on Mr. Ash Mohammed. Okay, Mr. Ash Mohammed is a distributor manager for International Middle East North Africa region, MENA. He has done his bachelor in life science, followed by master's in sciences in toxicology. He started his career with Eddy Instrument as a senior application and support specialist and promoted to technical manager for South Asia, and currently is holding the position of distributor manager for international and MENA. He has vast experience in all major cardiovascular in vivo and in vitro application in life sciences, research, and teaching. Without further ado, I'll hand over the floor to Mr. Ash Mohammed. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Let me share my screen. Hi, everyone. Thank you very much for giving this opportunity to come forward and talk about some of the very valuable solutions nowadays in the market for education and research, especially in pharmacology and physiology. My name is As being introduced, and I work for Eddy Instruments. Eddy Instruments is actually an international company, and we have more than 30 years of experience in the market overall. Let me just go to the next slide. Yeah, so we are we are being one of the pioneer and industry leader in the field of data acquisition, analysis, and education research related solutions. So we have three major objectives where first of all is to make the best product we can and make it as easy as possible to use, very user friendly. The entire basic principle is that we record any of the mechanical signal from the body or subject, and then this signal can be converted into analog signals, and then this signal goes into power lab where entire sampling, filtering, amplifications, total data processing happen, and then we get a big and digital display signal into our software called Labchart or Labtutor or recently mentioned LT. So this is just a basic of that. Yeah, we're very thankful to Dr. Michelle. She's been one of the user of LT, and she has explained it wonderfully. So I won't take much time on that. LT has been our booming software nowadays. Since the pandemic, everyone is being using, and it was nicely explained how LT works and what are the capabilities it possesses to our educators, the students, as well as administration. So we try to make it very user friendly and powerful for all three segments of educations, you can see in the slides, and we have more than 500 pre-designed cases, experiments, where we can use them at they're ready to use, or we can even, the best thing of LT is that there's no limit of creating, adding experiment. You can create entire course or new experiment, or you can edit any of the existing experiment to in order to teach. Yeah. So what I'm particularly excited about actually are new launch, which are LT sensors, and these are just USB sensors. So remember, we have both the facility in LT. One is data acquisition, like it is very interactive. If we want to record the real-time data, we can do in that software, or if we just want to use preloaded data, all recorded in the factory, we can use that as well. So keeping the real-time recording in mind, we are very excited to launch a range of sensors which are wireless, and these are just USB. Anyone can keep in the pocket and then can move it, and just plug and play, just connect to any laptop tab and then start doing your real-time data recording. So that those sensors are really cool, and they possess a range of signals starting from finger pulse, blood pressure, respiration, grip force, skin temperature, and many more. Yeah, moving to research, AD Instruments has been cited more than any company in the world in research papers when we talk about precise research, accuracy of the results, and the generals. So our research bundles basically start with the higher grade of Power Lab. It can be 8 channel or 16 channels. Remember, Power Lab is actually a universal recorder data acquisition system. Then we club that into signal conditioners. These are amplifiers to amplify the signal further. And then we have a wide range of specialized instruments. It can be Langendorf, for example, for isolated heart, and then for isolated tissue organ bath, or for pressure volume setup for PV recordings, and then sensors. So this makes, we provide pre-bundles, configured systems, which are second to none in the market. They're very, very comprehensive solutions. Yeah, quickly talking about the range of amplifiers we have, and you can see in the left side that we can, starting from biopotentials, we go to force, pressure, displacement, gas analyzer, chemistry, biochemistry, stimulators, and a wide range of stimulators. So there's a whole range of, and the best thing is that we have single amplifier for multiple applications. We don't just need to have, suppose we're recording 10 signals, so we don't need to have 10 amplifiers. It can be single, or it can be actually 2. Yeah, talking about some of the applications, what we possess, spirometry is one of the hot topic nowadays, and we have a very dedicated system to record tidal volume, respiratory rate, minor ventilation, peak expiratory flow, and force vital capacities. So there are dedicated software, hardware for doing this experiment, and it is applicable. It can be used in education and research. So we have both kind of solutions for that, and easily clubbed with our Labchart and LT software. It's just a part of exercise physiology system. So we also have a very dedicated metabolic system where we can record maximum auto consumption, CO2 production, respiratory exchange ratio, and all related parameters. It comes with a very high grade gas analyzer, power lab, and software. And then, yeah, we can record all those signals during exercise on treadmill or ergometer. So this is a system which is being widely used nowadays in this respiratory or metabolic related research. Moving to our another range of wireless solutions. There's a wide range of wireless parameters being recorded where we don't need wire at all, and starting from a dedicated EMG systems, which actually we supply with small sensors which can be placed into any of the muscles. Like at a time we can go up to 16 muscles, so it comes with 16 sensors. So we can record EMG 16 channel while a subject doing gymnastic exercise, working and all. And then actually one AMG sensor give up to 10 signals. It can be like it's starting from EMG, it can be XYZ, ECG, goniometer, and ergometers. So there's a wide range of sensors which we can place here. So you can have a quick look on some of the sensors which comes with our wireless monitoring. The system works into the range of 40 meters. We can place sensors to our subjects, and we can keep recording and monitoring whatever the exercise they're doing and how their muscles, ECG, and other parameters are changing or reactive. So we also have a very mini sensors. This is actually to record like while you're playing piano or small part of your fingers or muscles or facial. Hi, can you see my screen?
No, I think as you are not sharing now. Reshare.
Oh, so I wasn't sharing from.
No, you were sharing
because,
just now. It disappeared.
Yeah, because I got another link. So yeah, can you see it now?
Yeah, we can see it. Go ahead.
Okay, great. So I've just finished the wireless EMG one. I hope everyone have seen those beautiful sensors. Moving to another equivital wireless systems. This is kind of a wearing belt, a cloth belt, and it is again a wireless setup to record on multiple physiological parameters within a range of 100 meters, because it works on Bluetooth technology. So starting from 2-channel ECG to breathing rate to skin temperature, galvanic skin response, pulse oximetry, body posture, as well as dermal temperature and core body temperature. It comes with some pills. If subjects swallow, we can monitor. We can continue monitoring internal parameters. So that's a very cost-effective and widely used system. And this has the capability to go into into water also, like while our subject is swimming, jumping, and all. So we just need to wear this belt, and it will automatically be connected to our lab chart software, and we continue recording those parameters. Yeah, there's an widely used non-invasive blood pressure measuring system. Gives you around 32 parameters of blood pressure, starting from systolic, diastolic, mean arterial, cardiac output. A very comprehensive system, very small, 2 fingers technology, which is actually is only with 8 instruments based on, like, sometimes if longer studies, one finger get fatigue, so it automatically switch to second. So it gives you beat by beat analysis of blood pressure non-invasively from human without any surgery and all. It also gives you cardiac output, stroke volume, and all hemodynamic related parameters. And a total autonomic function testing can be done by using Valsalva, cold hand processor, and standing to line testing. All these tests comes pre-designed with the system. Now moving to, we have a wide range of human, as I've been talking now, there's a wide range of animal, and the best thing is that Power Lab and our lab chart software remain the same. That is one center of every application. So there is no limit of doing applications with Power Lab and lab chart. So if I talk about one of my system is called Langendorf Isolated Heart Research Systems. It is a very compact one which we provide. We just need to take heart out, mount it, and start in retrograde perfusion mode, and you get multiple parameters out of the body, and targeted parameters. Like if, for example, if we record those parameters in body and we give some drug and some kind of activity, there are multiple other responses because of the hormones and other organs. Here we take it out, we maintain our own pH, our own temperature, and we give a drug and we see the response directly to the heart. So we also insert a balloon, so with that we can calculate the left ventricular developed pressure and dp by dt and max and minimum. So there are multiple range of parameters we record with isolated organ system, Langendorf. Then quickly move to blood flow measurement system. We have dedicated solutions for both qualitative flow measurement as well as quantitative flow measurement. So for qualitative flow measurement, there's a blood flow measurement system comes with probes, so it gives you arbitrary flow or changes in the RBCs of the sensor. And then there's a quantitative blood flow measurement which actually give you real-time flow in ml per minute. It comes with some dedicated probes. So for example, if you position around any vessels, artery or vein, you straight away start getting blood flow in ml per minute. That's a very dedicated system. It works on ultrasound transit time technology, which is a gold standard in the market. But to keep in mind, for this technology, we need to go invasive. It is actually, we need to do a bit surgery, so it's an invasive system. Then finally, there's a wide range of blood pressure transducers based on the cost and applications, starting from disposable transducers to go to very high precise Miller microtip catheters, which is, I think, the most cited catheter and a gold standard one in case of blood pressure recordings. And this single catheters can give you pressure as well as volume, so we can easily do pressure volume analysis in heart. And then we also have a range of non-invasive BP where we can just place around the tail of an animal, and we record non-invasive blood pressures. In that case, we keep using same animal for many times. This is the sensor I was talking about. This right side is red and blue sensors. These are the microtip catheters, and with the help of them, in a small animal or large animal, we can record a real-time picture of ventricle, whatever the pressure is there and whatever is the volume of blood present. So in case of any disease like hypertrophy, you can easily see that the size of ventricle is shifted to one particular size, and it denotes whether the volume it has increased or pressure has gone down, and all these kind of studies can be done. And our final systems is actually again a wireless range of these parameters in animals. So we very proudly have launched a heart telemetry system where we have these chips, if you can see on the top, and those chips can be implanted inside rat or mouse, and after implantation, once animal recovers, we can continuously record our parameters wirelessly without any wire or touching or any anesthesia or anything to animal. It's just like animal will be behaving socially normal in conditions, and we continue recording our signals. Can be blood pressure, temperature, activity, tissue oxygen, as well as we launch a new parameters called optogenetic. So with this in mind, I think we're very short of time. So I would request everyone who's interested or whose applications related to all these solutions we provide, please feel free to send us an email, and we will be more than happy to put one-to-one session or demo so that everyone be benefited about the solutions which are available. And I will also encourage everyone to ask for LT trials. So you will get a 90 days trial free. So you can use it, implement it with your students, and come back to us. for any further help. So with this, thank you very much, everyone, for listening me patiently. And yeah, thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. As, for the wonderful sharing. Okay, I saw a question in the chat box. Apparently, Dr. Michelle is not in the meeting because she already left because she's having another meeting.
What is the questions? If I can, if related to area, can be often.
Yeah, not sure because one of the attendants asked, they want to ask once the presentation finish. So I'm not sure who's the.
No, I think the question is typed by the candidate, and the question is how challenging it has been to keep the student motivated in these circumstances. Since she mentioned keeping student engaging and inclusive is the key. And meanwhile, they say our university also used Power Lab earlier. So that's the question. And that's the reason because academic question, and that's the reason I replied into that. I think small group teaching and also active learning teaching and using some of the LT I think tools are become then very, very important. I think you can add on if you want to add something LT related in teaching. If you are trying to talk, please unmute. Yeah.
No, it's okay. I mean, it's more of a real educator professor who's been dealing with. I mean, they should answer for that questions. But for us, if I have to about our experience, it has been really challenging in couple of months last when the pandemic was there, and we have got a lot of calls about the solutions, how we can keep them engaged and all. So the LT has played a crucial role, and we launched LT, and it was just quickly adapted by all of the major universities in the countries, like the one in, for example, Monash in Malaysia, and Middle East and other countries. And the kind of feedback we have from professors and teachers is that everyone was excited and happy after using it. That's all I can say about. I mean, yeah, we found it very positive.
Yeah, and I think Dr. Christina posed a question like, what does LT stand for? Can you quickly elaborate on that?
LT is actually there's no kind of abbreviation. It's just we just named it LT because the behind of this is Pura Cloud, which is a cloud-based learning. So it is just one product of LT. There's no abbreviation for LT. Actually, we used to have a software called Labtutor. So we just because it was not engaging and like it was not online teaching. So we just taken two words from Labtutor and we made it LT. So if we go to the history, it should be Labtutor.
Yeah, I think someone is raising hand. Samsur, yes. I will allow to talk, and if any questions, Samsur, you can post your question. Okay, you can speak now. You can unmute yourself, Samsur, and then post your question if you have, because I can see a raise of hand there. So, sorry, Sarala, I didn't get your question. What will transpience maintain? I'm not really sure. You want to ask your question? Let me unmute you or allow you to talk. Sorry. Okay, Sarala, you can post your question.
Sir, how to maintain transparency, sir, during examination in the... Hello.
Yeah, I think that's altogether assessment question where, some experts can talk. Paul, do you want to take this question?
I think it's a difficult one. There are all sorts of ways that we can do it, but I don't think everyone's got perfect answers to that one yet. It's about my main comment now.
Okay, all right. I think it's altogether a different platform. And tomorrow we have Associate Professor Elizabeth Davis will be talking in the morning. I think she's an education expert. And I think, Sarla, your question will be much more appropriate there. I think this is more about the technology which are used in learning and teaching, including the pandemic and online teaching. So I think we'll leave it there. And tomorrow, I think, where we have expert Dr. Elizabeth Davis and also chaired by Dr. Associate Professor Amuda Kadivela. Both these people are expert in education, and I think you can post your question there. So I think with that, I think we can end this session. Unless Ramanan, you want to add something?
Yeah, no, Doctor. I would like to thank everyone, every participant that joined the webinar today. So I hope everyone stay safe. And again, thank you very much.
Yeah. All right. Thanks.